downtown Detroit recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that growler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live, episode 231, Better on Draft podcast. We are live on Facebook, facebook.com/Better on Draft, youtube.com/Better on Draft, twitch.tv/bod podcast, as well as you can go to now our website, betterondraft.tv, for our live performances. That's right. We have a website just for Friday nights from 7 to 9. My name is Ken. Welcome to this great show. Again, episode 231. We have a great episode for you as we continue to social distance and reach out past the Metro Detroit, Michigan area. I know when we started this year, we were really looking to hit northern Ohio a little bit because Toledo is not so far away. But I tell you what, I got a treat. If you're watching the video, or obviously if you're looking at the name of the show, you'll know who our guest is today. But let's kind of go around and see how everyone is doing. Rob, what's going on? What are you drinking? And how has your week been?
Week's been good. Week's been good. Brand new chair. I'm no longer sitting in this chair squeaking anymore. Brand new tattoo, which is scabbing over right now and is looking like I guess this is apparently what sunburn feels like. That I'm going through between the scabbing and the itching, but everything's
That's racist.
That is racist. I dealt with that question for so damn long. And to answer the question, yes, we do. But I just haven't. Anyway, as far as the beers of what I have, I am double fisting right now. I am pulling a Nick right off the bat. So first off, I am having myself a Haterade grape. Do not be swayed by the color. It is looking very green, but I think that's the electrolytes that are talking right there. So that's the Haterade grape. And I'm also having the Works. Both of these from Listermann Brewing. This is the Works, which is, the Haterade, it's a Berliner Weiss brewed with electrolytes, as they have in a can. The Works is a sweet stout that is brewed with caramel, chocolate, vanilla, peanut butter, powdered sugar, nuts, and sprinkles.
No, wait, I didn't send you that Works bottle, did I?
No, you did not.
Okay. I was like, I don't have that beer. Well, congratulations on one-upping us a little bit. Wendy, how's it going? How was your week? And what are you drinking?
Fantastic. I have eagerly been awaiting this week because these beers have been in my fridge. And I'm impressed that Rob has kept that Works for that long because the Listermann was the first to go in my Tavor package. So I too have the Haterade grape, and I'm pretty sure it's that color because isn't that the same color as grape Gatorade? Is that why it's? I don't know.
Well, we have someone who could potentially answer all of these questions for you today. So that is good. Is that all you're drinking, or?
That's all I'm drinking right now. I'm trying to savor them.
Okay.
She's going to pull the Nick later on, basically, is what she said.
I feel like everyone's going to be doing that here soon, and it's just going to be the way Better on Draft is. Kind of like the first few episodes when everything was nothing under 10% was our rule.
The first few episodes?
Okay, the first 100.
That's still a rule. Come on.
Well, Nicholas, how are you? What are you drinking over there?
I've been nursing a stress headache for the last 4 days, and this is the highlight of my week right now, to be with you guys drinking.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. Aren't I so sweet? Doing what I always do best, doing a Nick. Didn't have it any other way. The little glass is that's Alpha King from Free Floyd's, and then in the Better on Draft glass is Pride, the Imperial Berliner Weiss from Listermann.
All right. And Daniel, as always, how are you? How was your week? What are you drinking? And how hot is it over there in fucking Arizona?
Oh, dude, it's a cool 117 right now. We broke the record for the hottest summer ever on record. so far.
117.
We've had like
I swore I just heard that you guys broke a record for the most 110-degree days in a year.
Yeah, the record was like 33. We're at like 36 now, and it's August 14th.
Oh my God.
So
We'll see what happens.
Congratulations, I guess.
Yeah. We're number one again. If not the coronavirus, might as well be for the heat. So that's always fun. But tonight, Ken, I'm actually pulling a U right now. Well, kind of a Nick and U, because it's 117 here for like the 88th day in a row. So I'm drinking a lemon elderflower hard seltzer from Oddside. And I've got another in the glass, an lemon elderflower seltzer from Oddside.
I finished those so fast when I had them in my refrigerator. It's almost like it was when I was drinking White Claws or Trulies and stuff. Those seltzers, the Ferndale one it hurt. It didn't hurt. It just wasn't a crushable seltzer.
Not quite the same.
No. It was definitely more like a salty sour than anything. But for me, I've got some Haterade grape from Listermann. Now, as you guys can tell, when we have these types of trends that seem like they're planned, they are. We actually have a guest in our online studio. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, who you work for, and what you do there.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Brewer. That is my actual last name. I'm the general manager of Listermann Brewing Company in Cincinnati, Ohio. And tonight, like many of you, I am drinking Haterade.
You know, I think that's the first thing everyone asks. We have the owner of Aberrant Ales up in Michigan. His name is Adam Stout. And I think that's the first thing everyone asks is that your real name, or did you, go full concept and try to go full into the business? So what is it that you do for Listermann? What's your day-to-day life like?
So I'm the GM. So we kind of have three. I like to break it down into three businesses at Listermann. We have one of the biggest and best homebrew stores in the Midwest. We have a manager that manages that. We have a manager that does the tap room, and a partner manager of the brewery. And I kind of oversee all three of those elements of the business. So day to day, just depending on who needs help doing what we're going to forecast for, working on labels, projections on what we're brewing, where we're sending it sales wise, just a little bit of everything that's not actually making the beer.
Okay.
Now, I heard that you started at Listermann's in the homebrew store.
I did. So I started there. It was 8.5 years ago. I actually know the exact date. It was March 19th, 2012. And they hired me to work 2 days a week in the homebrew store, stocking shelves and mopping the floors. And that was right when the state of Ohio allowed tap rooms to open. So we had a brewery on site, but it was kind of our owner, Dan's, just dicked around making whatever he wanted to make, not really worrying about selling beer. But that tap room law kind of changed that. We started taking things more seriously, having people come see us and drink beers on site. And then I kind of like moved more to the brewery. I like to say that they hired me to work 2 days a week there, and I've never worked 2 days a week in my life there.
So was that something that you wanted? Like, did you see yourself at that time taking a bigger role in the company?
No, I mean, it's kind of, I would like to say that I saw us being where we are now 8.5 years ago, but I'd be lying. So my background's in marketing. I got a master's degree in marketing from the University of Cincinnati, and I was selling cell phones. I did an internship at Motorola in Chicago. Didn't want to go back to selling phones. I had done a project for Listermann and a master's program to kind of get my foot in the door there. And, I just kind of took the lowest paying job to get my foot in the door. And there was only 3 breweries in Cincinnati at that point in time. So I had to get my start doing something somewhere to get some experience. And just so happens that I've never left.
That's awesome.
So when you had started I'm sorry, what's up? Am I cutting someone else off?
Nope. You're good.
Okay. So one of the things, and I definitely, I feel like I have to bring this up before I forget, because one of the first Listermann beers that I had is still one of my favorites to this day, is Pastry Life. And for those who've never had it or heard of it, it was a barley wine style ale. It was Asian bourbon barrels, had cocoa nibs, raspberries, vanilla. And like every time I got a chance, and actually shout out to the Party Source as well, because I believe you guys collaborated with them on making that. And so definitely shout out to Party Source for being an awesome store and also being an excuse to take half an hour away from my goodness, doggone crazy. So taking a half hour away to hang out at a store instead of chilling out with my in-laws, which my in-laws are cool. They'll do that. But I'm kind of like with looking at a lot of what you guys post, and obviously I'm a fan out here in Michigan. I don't get a chance to get much of it up here, but seeing what you guys post up on Facebook, there's a lot of different like flavor combinations that you guys come up with in terms of your beers that usually like outside of maybe Odd Side up here, I tend to not see some of the combinations that you guys come up with. So I'm curious to like hear about where you guys come up with these profiles and make these different flavor profiles that local beer drinkers get to enjoy.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, Pastry Life is a fun thing that we did a while ago, and that beer actually didn't sell that well. I mean, I absolutely am with you. I love that beer. I could probably drink that beer all day, every day, and it just didn't sell that well. It's kind of crazy. Barley wine, we can get a whole barley wine discussion. I love them, but they don't sell very well. Yeah, so it's kind of just like taking inspiration from everyday things. You have a dessert somewhere that you like. How can we make a beer for that? You watch a TV show and see something on there. You're drinking the works. That's inspired from Michael's Pretzel on Pretzel Day. So it's just, finding things in our everyday lives that's fun and that we can put flavor combinations together that we think will be good. We think our customers will like, and just making it happen.
Nice. And also I heard that, I know Ken's not going to like this. I heard you like IPAs.
Oh boy.
We may like to make an IPA or two.
So, I mean, an IPA, I think and I think one of the things that I can't remember if it was something I read or something I heard that, obviously an IPA can have, I mean, there's so many different styles that you can have with it, so many different like hop builds that you can have, and it's like a Rubik's Cube in a way where you can just okay, some Citra or some Simcoe or this or that. Let me get to my question though. Is there a particular style of IPA that you prefer, or one that you least prefer?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Why we like making IPAs so much? There's so many different hops out there. There's so many different combinations. It's always kind of you can make the same IPA and just tweak the hopping rate just a little bit and get a completely different beer. So it's fun to experiment with. We like to drink them. People like drinking them. So it's just great all around. I'm a haze boy. I'll probably be a haze boy for life. I just like the soft, not bitterness, fruitiness of them. Back in the day, it's kind of crazy. And this is kind of how the market was too. Like back in the day, it was all give me the bitterest beer you ever have. Give me your 120 IBU, 150 IBU beer. And I'm just going to drink 4 of them and just like be like, yeah, that's nice and bitter. I love it. And now it's just like I have a Stone Pale Ale and I'm like, damn, that's way too bitter for me. So I just like the non-bitterness of the hazies and the way the fruitiness, the way that really brings out the fruitiness instead of the bitterness is what really. I'll probably be a haze boy from now until end of time.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that I tend to do is when I go to a new brewery, that one of the things I like to judge a brewery on is judging it by its IPAs. For you, would that be your judge of what a brewery's capabilities and potential is, or is there another style that you look at first when you go to a new place?
I always look at lagers. They're really hard to hide anything behind. So I can tell you if I'm going to want to drink 4 or 5 more beers from this brewery or not based upon their lager. If your brewery makes a really fucking good lager, chances are they're going to make a really good everything else. So I generally start with a lager, and especially with the guy out in Arizona at the hot days, like it's hot here too. So a lager is just the perfect one to I sweat a lot too, so I'm probably sweating walking into a brewery. So a lager is just the perfect beer to kind of like calm me down, cool me down, and just get started on the journey at that brewery.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. A lot of people out here still like their 10, 15, 17% stouts out here, even when it's 117 myself.
Dan, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, you are not a lot of people.
No, I don't. Well,
It's
I know
always
that
stout season.
it's always stout season. The ones that people put out here, a lot of times, especially the barrel-aged ones, sell out within minutes. So I don't think it is just me, at least. But I got a question here for you too. Taking a look at some of the things that you guys make, I noticed you make mead and wine in addition to beer. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
What do you guys see? Is mead something you want to go more into? I see you only have one right now. Are you trying to expand more into that? You're trying to expand more into wine? What are your plans for something like that?
Our plans for that was really to do. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago. Was really to do mead and cider, just to give an alternative to beer for someone that brings a spouse or brother or sister to the bar that doesn't drink beer. Well, it's kind of before seltzers were a thing too, right? So we would have made seltzer back then instead of cider and wine. But we make cider and wine to kind of just be an alternative for people that don't drink beer and can still enjoy something there. And the mead's kind of like, meads weren't that big of a thing. It's great. I like to think that I'm old money. I've been in the beer game for not in industry, but I've been following beer for 12 or 15 years now, it feels like. And, back then no one really talked about meads. And, it's only been recently that at least I think that meads have really come on. So meads aren't really a big thing that we're thinking about. We're making 15 or 20 gallons at a time. We got a guy he's one of the brewers makes it, and he makes really good meads. But we're just going to stick at that 15 to 20 to 30 gallons at a time and just kind of just have them in the tap room and not go too crazy with them.
I think that shows, sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but I think that kind of shows where we are in Metro Detroit versus a lot of other cities in the country, because we have had Bee Nectar for over a decade. I think they're going on even more than that, like maybe almost 15 years. I know we have Schramm's, which has been going on, and obviously they have some of the top-rated meads / beers. Well, it's all meads, but meads on Beer Advocate. We also obviously had Cellarman. So, like, we in Metro Detroit, Kunin made their own meads. Dragon Mead made meads. So I think... Yeah, I think meads have always just been part of the drinking culture down here in Metro Detroit. I'm assuming that you guys just don't see the same out in Cincinnati or Ohio, or, we mentioned that there was a lot of different laws that changed in 2012. Did that put you guys behind in the game?
No. We could always make mead with the winemaking license. It was just not something that, we didn't really think about. We were always a brewery. And it just wasn't our thing. And, with how expensive honey was, small operation, honey's still really expensive. So it's kind of a cost barrier to get past to start that. Before I send it back to Dan, one question from our chat. So Jonathan Cole over at Witch's Hat wants to know when you guys are going to make the stylistic abomination by gummies again. What's up, J. Cole? We actually are making another gummy beer here recently. We were learning from what we did with that one. But man, it's on them. It's their turn to make it at their brewery. We made a beer with Witch's Hat, and we made a beer with a double IPA with a bunch of gummies. One of the best beers, one of my favorite beers we've made. We're making it a little bit different again, but we were supposed to make it at their place, and they never invited us. So maybe Witch's Hat doesn't like us anymore.
Just need to show up there one day.
For a great segue, next week we're actually going to be at Witch's Hat for the Fury unboxing. So we will ask J. Cole, what's up with that?
Yeah, you ask him what's up with that, and you ask him why he didn't come down to Cincinnati for the collab day. We had a good time with Tofu, and those guys came down when we made that. It was almost over a year ago. And then we made a stout, like a 14% stout up there that they aged in bourbon barrels.
That was amazing.
We were supposed to switch those, which we did a really good job brewing that one at our place too. We didn't. it's just how schedule and time goes. Because we were just supposed to switch those two. So that's on J. Cole. J. Cole, that's on you.
All right, I'll throw it back to Dan.
So this is a terrible question now that I've had a couple minutes to think about it. But I got a question about this Fireball Mead. I mean, were you guys aiming at the frat boy throwing up in his front yard at 2 a.m. with this mead, trying to get that part of the drinking demographic? I'm just curious on how you guys came up with this, because it's interesting, but I know the demographic that drinks
what's
Fireball.
What's wrong with a little cinnamon?
No, I know the demographic that tends to drink Fireball and what usually happens. That's why
I know a lot of middle-aged moms that like Fireball.
Oh, geez, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I always think think
I
of
do
20,
too.
21-year-olds.
Fireball is the new Jaeger.
Nick's going to be married to a middle-aged mom here in about 4 months. So.
Oh, jeez.
And she loves her Fireball. It's probably killing her that she can't have any right
All right, so that was a bad stereotype. It is a very interesting concept.
I mean, Nick's wife Tara is the only person I know that I can pay to do work in Fireball, because she's done a bunch of the graphics for the March Draftness, and in turn for doing those, she gets gallons of Fireball.
Okay, all right. Well, that proved me wrong. You didn't even have to answer that one.
That's actually a really good question. By the way, my mom loves Fireball. So,
Oh, gee.
I apparently just hang out with really bad people. So
she doesn't drink it all except for Fireball. So
So
she'll
talk.
drink it. Warm, cold, doesn't matter.
I was going to say, talk to us. I know all three of us got this. This it says Kroger on it. It's your Pride can.
Yes.
Talk to us about this beer. What was the conception of it?
Yeah, I just want to touch back on the. I just want to touch back on that question because it's actually a really good story.
We love stories.
The National Homebrew Conference was in Cincinnati. I think it was in 2006, and we have a really big. Where our breweries founded in homebrewing. We had a really big. The Bloatarians are a really big homebrew community in Cincinnati, and so they made a beer and a mead for the homebrew conference. And so the mead that they made was actually our old store manager still works in the homebrew store, Chuck's Fireball mead. So he used like Fireball candies in this mead, and everyone that came to the homebrew conference got a bottle of this Fireball mead. And it was actually featured in Randy Mosier's Crazy Brews book was the recipe for this Fireball mead that Chuck made. So it's kind of a little bit of a legendary mead in the Cincinnati homebrew community. So we had Chuck help us out with the mead. We used the candy Fireballs and some cinnamon oil extract with that mead to make it, and it turned out pretty good. So, and then to touch on the Kroger thing, Kroger is last year we made a Pride beer. It's usually myself that comes up with crazy ideas to make beers because I don't know everything that goes in the brewing process. I don't know how yeast works with things intricately. I know enough to be dangerous essentially about brewing. And so I always come up with the dumb ideas for doing these things. Like, what if we throw fucking cheesecakes in a mash? What's going to happen? And so it was with great relief that last year our head brewer, we're going to make a beer for Pride. He suggests buying 300 liquid gallons, so it's over 2 tons of rainbow sherbet, and mixing that with a beer and fermenting it. It was literally one of the worst days of our lives. We got 2 tons of sherbet and like 2.5 pound boxes of sherbet. So we had to unbox them, throw it in the boil kettle, melt it, get it up to 180 degrees to sanitize it, to pasteurize it, and then chill it and put it in. It was just a long day.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my Lord.
And the beer was just took off like bonkers. It was great. And this year, Kroger is a big proponent or big supporter of Pride in Cincinnati, and they also make rainbow sherbet. So we partnered with them, got their rainbow sherbets. It's definitely a different beer this year than last year. I think it was a little bit less fat in the sherbet that made the beer taste different. So it's pretty much the beer is, legally speaking, the beer is 51% beer or malts and 49% rainbow sherbet.
Look forward to cracking
So Jason, there's a lighthouse on the Pride can. I read the label, but why don't you tell us what the lighthouse on the Pride can means?
Yeah, so we just do a lot. We do a lot of community and charity work. So this year, the proceeds for some of the proceeds for Pride is going to Lighthouse Youth Services, and they're a local organization that works with LGBTQ, gay, or that's part of the LGBTQ children, and helps them get through what they're going through. And local community or local group that we're working with, and very happy to be working with, and just happy to be a part of supporting the community with a delicious beer.
Very cool. Very nice. Very, very nice.
So
go ahead, Rob.
Okay. So with this, obviously we've got everything going on with the shutdowns and COVID and all that other crap that we're dealing with, and mask and whatnot. But obviously businesses have been adapting to new areas and options of getting their goods to the public. I know you guys have started shipping beer across the state. I guess talk to us about how well that's going, and does the response give you the feeling that your beer can reach outside of Ohio? Hint, hint.
Yeah, so the old saying, it's better to be lucky than good, and I feel that way about our business a lot. I don't know if that says anything about me or what, but we were actually already set up to ship products with UPS with the homebrew store. The homebrew store ships out not very often, but they'll ship out 1 or 2 packages a week. When they, a couple years back, we were doing a lot of shipping. And then didn't want to develop the website to compete with the monsters that are out there, so we just kind of stepped back. So, we were already set up as a business when the lockdown happened to ship beer. We weren't doing it because we didn't need to. But when that happened, we're like, how do we make more? How do we get our beer out? It's mainly just to obviously make money, but how do we get beer out before it goes bad? We don't know if stores are getting shut down. We don't know any of this stuff. So how do we get the beer out so we make money and the product stays within code? And luckily enough, we did UPS. I think the first week we may have sent out 100 packages. It was just crazy. The great response we got for that, I just totally blew me away. And now we're a little bit better. We have a Shopify shop set up, and we do about 20 or so a week in the state of Ohio. And there's a lot of different permits and stuff. I'm not sure that we'll go with to really expand it, but staying in the state of Ohio is pretty much where we are for shipping right now. Mm-hmm. We do send our beer to other distributors in other states. So we have a great relationship with our AJ Maka distributing in Chicago and Illinois. We go to FOBAB every year and ship beer up to FOBAB every year. So sending them some beer in there and in Wisconsin and Minnesota. We are working with a place in Arizona to ship some beer to Arizona soon. Hopefully before the end of the year, we'll have 1 shipment into Arizona.
Nice. You hear that, guys?
Yeah,
I did. You
yeah, we hear you, Dan.
You mentioned FOBAB. Why don't you explain to the listeners what FOBAB is? Because it's not necessarily one of to me, it's one of the major beer competitions out there, but it's not necessarily, it's not GABF or Extreme Beer Fest.
To me, it is the beer so FOBAB is Festival of Barrel Aged Beers, and there's 360 barrel aged beers from the best breweries in the country there. And to me, not growing up, I was already old. But getting into the beer industry, FOBAB was always the one festival you could never get tickets to. And so for us to to enter beer and to go to FOBAB every year is kind of like a dream come true, to go there. It's just, you're putting in your best beers and competing with the best breweries in the country. We're lucky enough to win lots of medals there, and we won best of show and then runner-up best of show and back-to-back years a little bit ago. So it's a really big deal for us, and we've made some really great partnerships there. The breweries in Chicago or Chicago near are freaking awesome. And I just can't say enough good things about the Illinois Craft Beers Association that puts it on, and FOBAB itself. If you can ever find yourself in Chicago, not this year, but hopefully next year, ever find yourself in Chicago in middle of November, you got to get to FOBAB. It is a very, very special event.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been one of the ones, especially, we're so close to Chicago, and I can't tell you how many times I've done like overnight drives where I've driven to Chicago at like, 6:00, went there and came home at like, 2 p.m. the next day. So I don't know why we haven't gone yet, but definitely we want to go. There is a lot, and one of the local breweries who sadly, no longer is in the game right now, but Cellarman's used to do really, really good over there, over at FOBAB, as well as Superstition Meadery, which I know is over by you, Dan. I know they always do pretty decent over in FOBAB. Do you guys enter any other contests? Are you guys doing GABF online this year?
Yeah, I think we are. I forget what we signed up for. It's been like a month and a year at the same time. At least it feels like it. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're doing it. We do GABF, but and last year we won a gold medal for our Bottle Logic collaboration, Scoring Discrepancies, Raspberry Peanut Butter Stout. And that beer is great.
Hard to lose with Bottle Logic. They make some good stuff.
I just have to tell you that I had read an article about that, and I'm a little embarrassed at how many links I clicked to figure out that was the name of the beer, not the reason the gold was won. I was like, what do you mean? Scoring discrepancies. It was embarrassing but funny all at the same time.
I will tell that story again. I promise you that. That's funny. But man, yeah, they just make freaking phenomenal beer out there, and they're such great dudes. The thing that sucks is like we were scheduled to go out there and pour at the brewery festival and make beer with them in May, and I had a child, and I was having a child in March, and it was going to be like my first trip away, and just like festival season and everything really, got shut down for that. So, but I don't have to promote Bottle Logic at all. Everyone knows how good their beer is. And the thing that makes it even better is they're just even better people behind the beer.
Yeah, Dan and Dan's local beer store at Bottle Logic on draft, and he actually just sent me 2 crowlers of, or at least 1 crowler of Bottle Logic, and man, that shit kicked my ass last week.
It'll sneak up on you because it's strong, but it's damn good.
It was Study Break, I think was what it was called, which is what you sent me.
Yeah,
over like 10%. And mind you, I was already drinking all day because I was I took a 3-day vacation, aka a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was just drinking for a lot of the weekend, and like it just hit me so hard. Damn it. I almost went the entire interview without saying in regards to. For those of you
Bingo
who are,
Square.
Bingo Square, that's a drink. Everyone take a drink for that one. As he slams it back. The last beer that we have here that we're going to be drinking throughout the show, because I know we're only heavy for the interview section, is Hitchhiker x Listermann Facts About Cats. Now, you mentioned that you're an IPA guy and you're liking those New England IPAs. Tell us about Facts About Cats.
Yeah, so that's made with our very good friends out in Pittsburgh and at Hitchhiker. And we kind of use some New Zealand hops in there, I think. What are the hops in there again? What does it say?
Put it on the Lotus, Wakatu, and Citra.
Yeah, so New Zealand, and then Lotus is really a new hop that's really fun. So I wanted to do some fun stuff with them. We both brewed it at the same time. We were supposed to exchange cases, but it was right when COVID hit is when the first time this dropped, and we liked it so much we brewed it again a second time. Also to send some to Devore. So yeah, it's just a really, really nice New England and nice and fruity. I mean, it's just a good New England. New England double. That one will sneak up on you too.
Is the what kind of started the New England craze out in Ohio? Because we have M43, which is pretty much the entire story that is Michigan Haze beer. which was like almost 4 years ago when the kind of like the juices started rolling. Did something kickstart Ohio's haze craze, or is it just a lot of people bringing in Treehouse and Trillium, and then everyone's starting to make it?
I think it was the second thing. I didn't know about M40. I knew about Treehouse and Trillium way before I knew about M43. We're also at the pretty much as far south from Michigan as you can get. So maybe that played into it. I obviously know what M43 is now, but I didn't know what it was for a long time. So I think that, if my memory serves correctly, I think Hoof Hearted was one of the, if not the first ones in Ohio making it, and just doing their stupid, crazy Hoof Hearted things that they do. You just got to laugh. And yeah, so it was just like, it was kind of crazy. We were all looking at, you see pictures before you drink it. And I was like, this just looks like bad bong water. Like, why would I ever want to drink that? They're obviously not brewing beer correctly if that's how their beer looks. And then you drink it, you're like, oh, okay, maybe this is just a one-off thing, like this one bat. And then like just beer after beer from them and Trillium and Treehouse were all super good. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I want to drink more of this without trading for it. So let's make our own and see kind of what we can do with that. And just started trying to set out and making our own. And that's when we first started canning beers too. So what really took us off for the New Englands is we made a beer called Team Fiona. So Fiona is another story. You get as many stories from me as you like. Fiona was a premature baby hippo born at the Cincinnati Zoo. I think she was like 24 weeks early, like born at like 48 pounds, which is like way small for a hippo. And she was under 24-hour care from the children's hospital in the city. And it was just like a big national story. And we were sitting there talking to the zoo, like, how can we help? Okay, let's make a beer, put Fiona's picture on it, and give proceeds to the zoo. And we made it a New England IPA to kind of introduce the style to the city, because we could have put water in that can and called it beer, and people would have loved it and paid $15 a 4-pack for it, with those proceeds going back to Fiona. So that's really where the haze kicked off for us, was making that beer for Fiona.
Now, one of the things that I want to mention, just because it is easily one of my top 5 podcasts that I've ever done, and specifically for you, because I think you'll really, really appreciate it. But when we interviewed Travis Fritz from Old Nation on episode 61, Travis Fritz is one of those, prior to M43, true to style, doesn't fuck around. Like, he is going to make one of the best beers to that style. Like, period, end of sentence. Like, one thing for me, he always made an alt beer that was so good, which is Detroit Dwarf. And I mean, he even made the weird stuff like Sanders Bumpy Cake, which is not necessarily a true to style beer. But again, when he made M43, like, he was not prepared for the huge... what's the opposite of backlash? Huge
reception,
yeah, of that beer. Like, he's talking about, he doesn't know how that beer is going to take off or what's going to happen with it. And this is December 2016, and here we are in 2020, and he has to contract brew kegs because his entire brewery was making M43 to the point where he couldn't make anything else. So episode 61, Better on Draft, 100% check that out for sure. The other question I want to ask before I send it, because I know Rob has a question, and I just need to know, when I went to the Cincinnati Zoo, this would have been 6 years ago, it seemed like it was a sketchy part of town. Was I just an outsider that didn't really know where I was, or because I felt like I got off the freeway and I shouldn't have been there?
There is no sketchy parts of town in Cincinnati. I'm just kidding. I would say it is probably in one of the. It's kind of on the edge of a college town, edge of a sketchier part of town. So it's right. You're not wrong in thinking that. I mean, you're not.
Okay, it was just like I got off the freeway, and obviously I'm just following Google Maps. And I'm like, should I be here? Should we be here? Like it just like to be honest, it's knowing damn well, like I know my way around Detroit, but I know where I'm not supposed to be in Detroit. Like I know the parts of Detroit where I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here. Why am I here? And it's because the freeway, like 94 got closed and I got stuck having to go through East English Village, which isn't even that bad of an area, but I was just curious, but I know Rob had a question for you.
Well, you were in the wrong part of town because Listermann's like 2 miles away. So you were in the wrong part of town.
Exactly.
I went to, I'll have to look up the name of it. I went to a wine bar actually that night.
What are you doing?
So,
wine bar?
Yeah, I you know what? It's just what happened. I went down there to go see Wicked, and that's all I really care to recall. We didn't go to a wine bar. We had a wine thing at I think it was Moore Lane Lager House.
You're making it even worse, man. Come on,
which they had like a wine.
Dig yourself that hole, buddy. Just dig a hole.
Listen, I was young and dumb once, so
hopefully they had some Mad Dog there at least.
I was looking for some Natty Boh. They didn't have any.
Oh my goodness! By the way,
can you cut him off, please? Come on.
This is my show.
I'm enjoying
Zoom.
I don't know about you guys, but definitely I'm loving this haterade. Wish you had some more cans of this stuff because this is some pretty tasty stuff. But I was curious about because I heard that you guys are working on expanding. That there's a new location you guys are working on in downtown Cincinnati, turning it was a Church of Scientology.
What?
To a German style beer hall. Is that still in the works?
Yeah, it's kind of changed from COVID, so we're not going to build it out as much. We're going to keep the back, the Church of Scientology, for the tax write-off, and then do the rest as a beer hall. No, that's a joke.
Oh man.
I had a lot of follow-up questions for that because I was I tell you what, now hold on. You guys are all laughing, but the amount of publicity you can get for doing less work and keeping it as a church that serves beer, I mean, I think you got something there.
Yeah, it's just not the crazy one of Scientology. Most of them are crazy. That's like one of the craziest.
Just call it like science beerology or something like that.
There you go. And
one goes into my salary, so it's good.
And one other thing, because when we were talking about the shipping, I was looking around and I saw that one of the other breweries out there, shout out to Mad Tree, because they have some pretty decent beers as well. Mad Tree has a truck that they use basically as kind of like an adult version of an ice cream truck where they just have beer and pizza.
Oh, hell yeah.
And just drive around in neighborhoods. Would you guys think about doing something like that?
No, let me get there. Because I want to answer your first question too. I sidetracked it with my joke. I didn't realize it was going to go over that well. So yeah, we're looking at 4th Street, Cincinnati, downtown. Kind of right by the convention center, German style beer hall. Cincinnati's got a great Cincinnati heritage. Cincinnati's got a great Cincinnati heritage. Cincinnati's got a great German heritage, and there's really no good German place to go. There's a German place here. We have Hopper House across the river, but that's in Kentucky. That doesn't count. It's in Kentucky, so just kind of. Finding that spot to kind of bring about Cincinnati's heritage. And I also as much as I say I'm a haze boy, I also can drink, just like everybody in the world can drink lagers all day, every day. I think as an industry, we're going to kind of see that pendulum swing back from hazy, overly fruity, overly sweet things. It's going to swing back to lagers, and our head brewer is going to kill me if I don't say saisons. It's not going to swing all the way back to saisons. It's just not. But lagers are definitely going to be. We're already seeing it. Lagers are becoming a bigger thing. Craft lagers are. So having that full beer hall like you're in Munich experience, it should exist in Cincinnati. It doesn't, and it will once we're up and running on 4th Street downtown. And to answer your question about Mad Tree, I remember I had a son in March, and they launched that. So I was at home with him, working from home, and I specifically remember watching the tracker like all day, every day, and the truck didn't move, and I was like, "What is that person doing that they're not moving?" And what happened was they got so bombarded with people, they had to stop it. There were so many people that were coming out, not doing social distancing, like just getting too close to it, all that stuff you're not supposed to do, and just so excited about it, because it's a really cool concept. It really is. And that's, I was on the website, like following the tracker, like, oh, they got to be coming here. Like I was excited about it. And they had to stop it because people just were just too excited about it, which is the world we live in now. So no, we will not be doing it, but hats off to Matry. That was a incredible, awesome idea and execution. That I'm a little salty that they never made it to my neighborhood, but that I'll deal with that with private messages to them. I already have, but
Right. I guess last one for me. I was gonna put you on the spot on this one. Other than Listermann, give me 5 other breweries in Ohio that people should check out.
All right. Seeing as I'm drinking a Wolf's Ridge IPA right now, definitely Wolf's Ridge. They're in Columbus. Great beer, also great pork rinds. If you go to the restaurant, like the best pork rinds I've ever had. I kind of give you like a spread out view. One from Cleveland is Masthead. Great hazies, great barrel aged. Really good beers all around. Plus, really good food. Jackie O's, Athens, speaks for itself. Also, great cheese curds. If you ever go to Jackie O's, get the cheese curds. So that's 3. I'll say Street Side in Cincinnati. They're doing some really good things down there. They're pretty close to us. So you could hit both of us in the same trip. So that's 4. 5. I will also do another Cincinnati thing. And again, like I have just not been the past year, especially the past 6 months, my head's just been down. I haven't been paying attention to a lot of breweries, or beers, but I will say Matry / Rheingeist in for a tie. They do a lot of great work in bringing Cincinnati some recognition, and their tap rooms are freaking gorgeous. Rheingeist has got a big industrial space with a rooftop that overlooks the entire city. It's incredible. And then Matry's just got a great, nice big patio. Again, close to Listermann. You could hit Street Side, Matry, Listermann in one swoop, more or less. So those are the 5/6 I'm going to go with.
Not to be punny, but to be punny, Rheingeist IPA is the truth.
That it is. So that's a great. We kind of talk about bitter IPAs. Like that is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like that beer is for me, that is a great 1 beer. I cannot have 2 truths. It is just too bitter for me. I'm ready to move to the next thing. It's really great to have 1, but I just can't have more than 1. But that's what that beer is supposed to be. It's nice and bitter.
All right. Wendy, you got one?
Well, yes, it's a question and a story at the same time. So my friend that introduced me to Listermann's just moved. He was living in Kentucky, but he spent a lot of time in Cincinnati. And when I went down for an event, he introduced me to Listermann's, and I absolutely fell in love. And I texted him to let him know that you were going to be on the show. And he was like, ask him when they're going to start distributing in Michigan, because he really misses Team Fiona.
I don't want to say never, but not soon. So
what do we have to do to make it happen?
Hey, we're close enough to drive to Toledo.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly.
Let's get it up here.
So it's just like, we sell a lot of our beer in the state of Ohio. It's just like with distributors. Distributors want margin, and in Michigan we have to go through distributors. So we're making less money by selling it in Michigan than we are in Ohio. And if we can sell it, in Ohio, all of it. We don't have a problem selling all of it in Ohio. Why would we sell it in Michigan for less? And it's not just Michigan. I have 6 states plus international shipping that are wanting our beer, and I just can't give it to them because from a business perspective, it's just not a good business decision for us at this point in time. Now, if there's a big beer festival in Michigan that we get invited to, like, sure, we can throw a half pallet or pallet together of beer to drop in Michigan, but it'll just be like that one-time thing. Just, I mean, that's pretty much what we did. You know, Illinois we do for FOBAB, Wisconsin we do for Great Taste of the Midwest, and now there's kind of been outlets for extra beer because of COVID. But you know, we don't really distribute a whole lot besides Tavor. Don't really send a whole lot of our beer outside of state.
You know, we obviously not going to be hosting one this year, but we host a beer festival. And maybe we need to start bringing in some Ohio breweries. Maybe call it the Oh My Beer Fest, OHMI.
Oh,
that would come on. That's
the only thing
A for effort, but
so
piss off a lot of people with that.
you know, I piss off a lot of people already. Nothing new, that's for sure. If you get the opportunity, you mentioned you have a kid, so obviously, and of course with COVID, travel is really hard. Uniontown out in Ashland is a very sneaky good brewery. It's kind of halfway between Columbus and Cleveland. So yes, it's out of the way from Cincinnati, but if you're heading up to Cleveland, maybe for a Browns amateur football game or
what?
Going to
Wait, what was that?
a Browns, they play amateur football over there, kind of like the XFL.
You mean the team that had a better record than the Lions? What?
I make fun because it's all the same.
Get that out of here! What the hell?
As well as I think it's in it's somewhere between Sandusky and Cleveland, but Sibling Revelry is sneaky good too. So definitely for those of you who are in Ohio or looking for Ohio breweries to go. One thing that I have a suggestion before we let you go, because obviously you were talking about how lagers are coming back. There is a great style of lager that you guys have not done according to Untapped, and that's an alt beer. So I am here to make you guys shut the fuck up, everybody.
That was my exact reaction. Oh, geez, not another alternate pitch.
If enough people are pitching it, that means enough people want at least one.
You're not everybody, Ken.
Yeah, one beer out of the
Damn, that was a boomerang. I'm just saying, if you've made 725 beers according to Untapped and none of them are an alt beer, that just kind of, makes me a little bit sad. Listermann, you guys are in Cincinnati. What do you have coming up? Anything special? Anything new? Any events, charities, anything you want to plug? Let's get this out here.
Yeah, our 12th anniversary is coming up. I think, give me a second. It's the 3rd week of September. We haven't announced that yet publicly. So anyone listening, you now know when our anniversary is going to be. We're doing a week-long thing. We'll have tickets for nights that people can try. Our tap room's only 7 tables right now. And usually it's a lot more than that. So we're spreading it out during the week, selling tickets for tables throughout the week. So that'll be the 3rd week of September. Got some really, really good beers this year. We just bottled up our 12-year anniversary, and man, that beer is fantastic. Everyone always asks us, why don't we just make a normal stout? Well, that we gave you one I gave everyone one for the 12th anniversary. So super, super excited about the beers coming out for that. We just bottle conditioned our first sour in 7 years. So that's exciting. I know you guys love stories. So my dad has never wanted to travel ever to anywhere. And he said he wanted to go to Oktoberfest in Munich. And I have been to Europe several times before that, so he wanted to go with me. And so him and I went over to Europe for 4 weeks and had a great time. And, I trust everyone at the brewery, but I shouldn't have even said this, but I was like, everyone was talking about making a sour. And I was like, just don't make a sour. And sure enough, they fucking made a sour that we now bottled yesterday. So hopefully, we're shooting for anniversary for it, but it's bottle condition, so that'll be ready when it's ready. So that's pretty exciting for that too.
Any other charity events that you guys are doing or stuff that we can plug for you?
I think that I'm just getting more information for it, but I can't speak well enough about it. But Bolero Snort just asked us to do an IPA that they're going to pick one brewery from 50 states to do for charity. Something that I can't speak well enough about it. They just sent me an information yesterday. So we have an IPA with passion fruit or blood orange IPA that'll be coming out that'll benefit charity. I shouldn't even brought it up. I know so little information about it. But Scott over at Bolero Snort asked us to do something. We normally say yes. So there's that. And, it's hard, with the environment that we're in, it's hard. We have a brew schedule, and I know the next turn of whatever every tank's going to be. But past that, it's kind of just like whatever. We don't know. We have ideas. We don't know exactly what's going into those. So we got the next month plan, but outside of that, we're kind of just keeping it loose so we can keep rolling with whatever happens with the times.
Well, what we'll do is we'll make sure we'll follow up with Jess over in your marketing department to make sure that we can get the correct information so that we can push it together for you guys. We appreciate you coming on out. Listermann Brewing, you can find them on Instagram, which is at Listermann Brewing, I believe. You can find them out in Cincinnati. Where are you guys destroying right now? Is it just Metro Cincinnati, or where can people find it?
Cincinnati, a little bit into Dayton, a little bit into Columbus, and then we have this great spot called Vintage Estate in Boardman, Ohio. It's kind of like in between Cleveland and Columbus. It's actually where the very first Arby's was, claim to fame, and they buy a lot of our beer. So we're in kind of those areas, and that's why we can't send any beer to Michigan.
Well, hopefully you get at least maybe into Toledo, sometime soon, Sandusky, somewhere at least close for us. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. This beer, I tell you what, I'm kind of glad that I picked the Sherbert beer the second, because this beer is definitely a slow burn. I cannot, it is so good. But it's one of those beers where you can't take large gulps. You can only do sips. And you know what? I think that's the more kind of beers that I need, is those. And of course the upcoming alt beer that you guys are going to do, because, the trend of lagers. Guys, we are going to be back in about 10 minutes with Better on Draft for the news. We will be right back with the Better on Draft podcast.